Therefore, I'm convinced that this is supposed to happen. And in time, I'm gonna blow it. They're gonna label me the GOAT. How long has it been since we spoke? How long is it? How long has it been since me and you spoke? Whenever I uploaded episode 23 is how long it's been since we spoke. But what if I told you that the biggest tech story of 2026 isn't a new iPhone or some AI chatbot? It's about a $20 billion factory in Texas that's about to change everything for creators like us, right? Pause for a second. I'm not even sure if most people realize what's actually happening right now. But welcome back to the show. I'm Kai John. Today we're talking about why the chip wars matter to your music, your games, your creative future, everything. So here's the thing about technology in 2026. We're at this weird inflection point, like I said in the last video, where the big players, Apple, Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, they're all realizing the same thing. You can't build the future without controlling your own chips. For decades, everyone relied on the same suppliers. If you wanted to make music, you bought a MacBook with an Intel processor. You wanted to build a game, you grabbed whatever GPU was available. But that's changing. Last week, Elon Musk announced Terafab. By the way, Elon Musk is a billionaire now. So when I scripted this video, he wasn't a trillionaire, but SpaceX just IPO'd and he is a trillionaire now, $1.1 trillion. But in the past, he announced a $20 billion chip factory that Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI are building together in Texas. And I know what you're thinking. Now, why would I care about Elon's factory? But it's actually about you. Stick with me. Meanwhile, Apple just announced their M5 Pro and M5 Max chips with this wild new 3D packaging technology. They're stacking dies vertically. It's like they're building skyscrapers out of silicon. And Square Enix, which is the company behind Dragon Quest, just integrated Google's Gemini AI directly into their game engine. These aren't separate stories, but they're all part of the same movement. And here's where it gets real. I'm going to be honest with you, and what excites me about this at the same time. The worry is that we're entering a new era of tech consolidation, where the companies with the most money and resources are building their own chips, their own AI, their own infrastructure. That's always been the pattern, right? The rich get richer. The big get bigger. And if you're an independent creator, if you're making music in your bedroom, building games in your spare time, trying to build a personal brand, you might feel like you're getting left behind. I've been there. I'm still there right now. You see Apple announce a new chip and you think, I can't afford that. You see Elon building a $20 billion factory and you think, how am I supposed to compete? But here's the thing that actually gives me hope. The democratization is happening at the same time as the consolidation. Gemini is available to game developers right now. Not just Square Enix anymore. Not just Square Enix, but anyone, I mean. And Apple's M series chips, and a few years ago, the kind of AI I could integrate into that game would have cost me tens of thousands of dollars. But now I can use free or cheap APIs, and the barrier to entry is collapsing. But I also think there's a real question we need to ask ourselves, which is what happens when the tools that make us creative are controlled by a handful of companies? When your music production software is powered by someone else's AI? When your game engine is dependent on someone else's chips? That's the tension that I'm sitting with. I think what's really happening, you needed a processor, a good GPU, enough RAM. That was the limiting factor. But now, the chips are getting so powerful and so cheap that the real bottleneck is going to be the software, which is the AI, the creative vision, the creative factory. Because he needs custom silicon for Tesla's robots and XAI's models. But the spillover effect is that technology eventually trickles down. It always does. The M5 chips that Apple announced, they're using techniques that were cutting edge 5 years ago, right? That's how it works. And here's my personal take. I used to think I needed the best hardware to make good music, to build good games. I would see people with that's not a constraint, isn't the hardware, it's the willingness, the personal brand. And I'm doing it on equipment that would have been considered like mid-range 5 years ago because that the hardware almost doesn't matter. And that's what the chip wars are really about. It's not about who has the fastest processor. It's about who controls the future of creative tools. And that future is being built right now in 2026 by companies that are racing to make AI and custom silicon accessible to everyone. So what I want you to think about is, what are you waiting for? If you've been thinking about starting to make music, build a game, create content, The tools have never been better. The barrier to entry has never been lower. Yeah, there are big companies building big for. The chip wars aren't about you competing with Elon Musk. They're about the tools that Elon's building eventually making their way to you. And that's happening faster than you think. And I'm curious what you're working on right now. Are you a creator? Are you thinking about getting into tech? Drop a comment, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're building. And if you found this helpful, share it with someone who's been thinking about starting a creative project, but felt like they didn't have the right equipment for it or the right tools, and they've been making that excuse. Because here's the truth. The right equipment is cheaper and better than it's ever been. The only thing holding you back is you. So thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Start that project right now.